What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be ranking all the characters from Sonic.Exe outcome memories and giving my opinions as to why I think each character deserves their own spot on the list. Also, before we start, I just want to say that this is my opinion. Your opinion can be totally different from mine and that's fine. But don't insult me or be rude in the comments just because we have different opinions. So without further ado, let's begin. At last place, I have placed Eggman. Now, this might come as a surprise to a certain someone, and here's why I believe Eggman is the worst survivor. And it's because his teamwork and capability is pretty lackluster. Yes, you can body block for others using a shock shield, but it's completely reliant on the EXE not being smart enough to avoid hitting the shield. But due to how fast 2011X is, it allows him to maneuver around the shield and hit the person you're trying to protect. This makes Eggman really inconsistent in how he can help the team. You could also try and time your shield to do a sort of counter, but you could do the same with Knuckles as well. Plus, this is still easy to bait, so his problem still remains. Of course, he can still be decent, as his shield has a big hitbox, so it can be quite inconvenient for the EXE if he's chasing someone. It's also very easy to stun EXE when he's using charge, since all you have to do is run into EXE and you stun him, meaning you can get a free stun off him and allow teammates nearby to escape. Plus, he has by far the best self-defense in the game, with his jetpack boost giving him insane distance and shock shield wasting a lot of EXE's time. Don't get me wrong, Eggman is still a fine character for helping a team. The issue lies with how his shield just can't compete with the level of teamwork that the other characters above him have, making him dead last. At 6th place, I have placed Metal Sonic. Now this is already starting to get controversial, so let me explain myself. Yes, his stunning capability is really good. His major flaw is that he always endangers himself by constantly damaging himself whenever he uses destructive charge. Not to mention, he doesn't even have a second life, meaning you won't get any second chances with him. This makes it a lot harder to survive with Metal Sonic compared to other characters, and in my opinion, his stunning doesn't make up for this, as the other characters can still stun for good amounts of time while having better survivability. His self-heal is the only thing keeping him from the verge of death. Yet it's still risky, as it requires Metal Sonic to stay stationary for a really long time. This is enough time for EXE to spot you and get a free hit off you, since you can't move at all when using this ability, but he still does have extremely good teamwork. He can stun for long periods of time, allowing for survivors to make up a lot of distance while EXE is stunned. In addition to this, he also stuns EXE for a whopping 10 seconds after he has died, making him waste a lot of the EXE's time. Metal can be super annoying and often keep EXE from reaching any of his teammates, but he's unfortunately dragged all the way down here since extremely poor survivability makes him not last for long and always requires a teammate nearby to give him cover. Otherwise, it isn't going to take EXE much time to completely destroy him. At 5th place, I have put Cream. Now, Cream is actually really helpful for a team, as she can heal a lot of HP and she can heal multiple people. Due to her good healing, whatever EXE does to damage the team, she can always reset that damage that EXE did by making EXE have to waste even more time trying to kill them, making her a very important character to have for a team. But she's still ranked lower than majority of the characters. Why so? It's because she is the worst character in terms of self-defense. She has almost nothing to keep her safe, as her dash is honestly useless. It does almost nothing, as you don't even knock back EXE that far and you take damage. Even for mobility, it gains almost no distance, so it's genuinely terrible. As for her heal ability, while using this ability, she's a sitting duck and EXE can easily get a free hit off her if EXE sees her while using heal, making her a really easy target for the killer, since she will get killed really easily mid-chase, since she won't have anything good to help her out. Cream can be really useful, but trying to survive her is a gamble if you have good teammates to protect you or not, as otherwise you will get absolutely ravaged by the EXE. That's why she is ranked all the way down here. At 4th place, I have placed Tails. Here's why I think Tails is honestly a really good character. His arm cannon is in my opinion the second best stun in the game. It's not only easy to hit, but there's also a certain mechanic of the arm cannon that allows you to stun the EXE for really long amounts of time. See, if you keep your laser on the EXE, he will stay stunned, and after your laser is finished, then the EXE will stay stunned for another 5 seconds. This is because the 5-second stun, it only starts after your laser has stopped, continuously hitting the EXE. And since the laser itself lasts 4 seconds, this means if you manage to keep your laser on the EXE for the full 4 seconds, and also get the 5-second stun off him, you will stun him for a whopping 9 seconds. Of course, you aren't going to always get the full laser duration, but even then, keeping the laser on him for a little bit of time will still result in a really good amount of stun time. The charge up issue can be easily mitigated if you use glide and just find a place that's far and high up from the EXE, allowing you to safely stun him. Unless you're in Hill Gym, then there is nothing you can do. But that's still only on one map, so a majority of the time Tails will still be very useful. Plus, since you're going to be staying so far away, it allows you to hide and just not get chased, meaning you can survive pretty nicely with Tails. But that said, sometimes EXE will still be able to catch up to you, and when that happens, it's gonna be rough for Tails, as his arm cannon is useless mid-chase due to the long charge up, and his glide can be easily countered by charge. So there's almost no options for Tails to safely escape chase, and this makes him one of the weakest characters in the game because of how easy it is for the EXE to kill Tails if he manages to get him in a chase. Tails is still very useful as his stunning can provide a lot of time for him and his teammates to run away from the EXE, but keep in mind that he is really fragile and almost always will take hefty damage if EXE manages to find him. Now, we have finally made it to the top 3. Generally speaking, in terms of self-defense and in terms of teamwork capability, these 3 characters are the absolute best options. So almost always you want to keep at least one of these characters on a team. However, of course, some are still better than others. At 3rd place, I have placed Amy. Amy is by far one of the most versatile characters in the game, and that is due to her tarot cards. It allows her to be useful in many different situations as each of them give a special buff to Amy, except for one specific card, but I'll get to that later. These cards can make Amy super powerful by giving many helpful buffs that can both benefit yourself and your team. Her best card has to be the Emperor card, as not only does it give her a good speed boost, it also makes her take less damage, and it doesn't even have any drawbacks, making it an extremely good card for your survival. Another very good card would be the Sun card, which allows you to heal others, and in a game like this, any healing can be helpful. However, unlike Cream, Amy still has her other abilities to actually defend herself. Plus, she can get a really good self-defense card to make her even harder to kill, making her an insanely good character in terms of teamwork. But, she still has one major problem. You see, the cards are randomized, meaning you might have to shuffle your cards a lot to get an actually good set of cards, as some cards are worse than others, and pair worse with specific cards. However, the worst part of this gambling feature is that they have added a card that is specifically meant to make it harder for you to survive or help others. And that is the Moon card. It's genuinely awful. It not only impairs your vision, it also has a randomized outcome, meaning not only do you gamble for the card, you also gamble with the card. And card's effects, meaning the card either helps you or makes life harder for you. This makes it not worth it in the slightest to get the card, as the foggy vision is already annoying as it is. It's too risky, as you can get completely screwed with the card's outcome, making yourself more vulnerable and easier to kill. Not to mention, the speed boost or damage resistance you get with this card isn't even worth it, since you can just get the Emperor card instead, which can literally give you these buffs without giving you the fog or without it being a randomized outcome. Just because of this one single card, it heavily lowers her score. That's how bad it is. Other than that, her other 2 stuns are great. Hammer attack is a good tool to save yourself or others, and it has a decent stun time, and it's pretty easy to land, making it a pretty good stun. Same goes for hammer throw. While it might be hard to figure out how the aiming system of the hammer works, it's still super forgiving, as even if you miss, the hammer will still keep rolling on for a little bit, allowing you to stun the EXE even if you don't directly hit EXE with the hammer. And the stun time is also fairly decent. Overall, Amy is a great character with overall good stuns and very good support, and self-sustained in the form of her cards. However, the gambling aspect of her cards is what makes her a little inconsistent, as sometimes you can get a bad deck messing up your whole game, which is what brings her down a bit. place, I have placed Knuckles. Knuckles is by far one of the most powerful and useful stunners in the game. His punch and counter stun for long amounts of time, giving you and your team ample time to run away from the EXE. Plus, one mechanic of his punch makes it extremely powerful, and it's that when activating punch, if you keep waiting in your standing phase, you will start to charge up your fists, and after a while, it will be on fire. And if you stun the EXE while your hand's on fire, you will stun him for a lot longer, making him an even more stronger stunner. He is also really good at protecting others, as his cooldowns are short and his attacks are short range, leading to him always standing close to the EXE and fighting him in order to keep him away from his teammates, making him have fantastic teamwork capability. A very useful passive he has is called Unstoppable. This passive makes it so that even if EXE is stunned, you can still hit him with the punch and it will stun for the whole duration. So basically, you just added another stun on top of another stun, making EXE stun for even longer. This makes Knuckles have top tier synergy, as he can work really well with other stunners by building up on their stuns by using his punch. He also has pretty good self-sustain himself. Since punch stuns for so long, it allows you to get away, and the punch has a dash, allowing you to much easily land stuns. However, you still need to be careful with him, since he can just as easily miss his stuns, which is heavily punishing and allows the EXE to get a hit off you. His counter can also be very easily baited, since EXE can trick you into thinking that he's gonna attack, but then he doesn't attack you, and instead you just made yourself a sitting duck for EXE to get a free hit off you. This is still not that big of a problem, as his stuns make up for it due to just how much you can attack and keep EXE off others. This makes Knuckles almost the best stunner in the entire game, as his sheer teamwork capability makes him one of the most valuable characters in the team, often being essential to make sure your team is well protected by stunners. But notice how I mentioned almost the best stunner. That's because there's still someone better than him.
Standing alone, standing just out of reach, foot on the brakes, but I need to go on. Day after day as I fall behind, you keep me away from being who I am. No more chains on me.
At first place is the main character, Sonic, and whoo boy does he live up to that main character title in this game. Drop Dash is an absolutely broken ability that is just unbelievably helpful, both in terms of teamwork and self-defense. It's very good in teamwork because it's the same mechanic of Knuckles' punch, which is that Sonic's stun can stack on top of other stuns, making him also have very good synergy with other stunners, and overall, his Drop Dash is just super powerful, as you can hit the EXE a total of 3 times, allowing you to keep EXE stunned for a really long amount of time and knock him back really far. And it's very easy to do so, as the speed boost allows you to easily run into EXE with your Drop Dash. And after hitting him once, the rest of the hits are practically free, as you don't have to make up much distance anymore to stun him 3 times. It's also extremely useful for self-defense, since if EXE touches you, you're just gonna stun him, basically making you invincible to any attacks. It also gives a really big speed boost and lasts a really long amount of time, allowing you to gain a large amount of distance from EXE. He also has another way to survive very easily, and that is due to his dodge meter. This ability essentially just makes you invincible from EXE's hits, and I think that pretty self-explanatory how this passive just makes Sonic almost unkillable. It basically just gives you 2 free hits, plus you can regenerate back this dodge meter by hitting more drop dashes, allowing you to tank even more hits from EXE. His other ability, Heal Out, while not as incredibly busted as Drop Dash, is still a really useful ability. It's mainly meant for teamwork, and I would say that it's really good at that. You can bring heavily injured teammates really far back and allow them to heal or regenerate their abilities. It also keeps them really far from EXE, allowing them to stay fairly safe, meaning you can save people from dying by using this ability correctly. This obviously makes it a really helpful ability for your team. Overall, there is simply no competition for Sonic, as his teamwork capability and self-sustain is just the best out of everyone in the game in almost every single way.